Hello everybody, this is Old Gamer Jack here. I just seen a video and it got me pretty good. I actually feel for the lady. She made her video. I don't know if another guy took her video, made a short out of it, or whatever the case may be, but she's having issues, and the issues she's having, we pretty much already discussed on this channel. And like I said, she went into tears and everything. It tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. She asked some questions, and I'm sure in her comments there's plenty of people that's offered her advice and everything. And so we're going to throw our hat in that pool, and we're going to try to give her some sensible advice. So I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I did write down some of the questions she asked, and I'm going to give my opinion on it. And like I said, now this is all opinions. It's things that I would do if I was in her situation. And some of them may not be easy, but you know, there's solutions, and all I'm saying is it's what I would do if I was in your shoes or her shoes. Okay, first one, struggling with money. Everybody's struggling with money. That's, you know, you're not alone on that one, which that's what she was saying. She felt very, very alone. She was wanting to know, is anyone else going through the same stuff? Everybody is that I know of, you know, unless you're upper class or you're rich, but you're not alone. You're not alone. If you walk down the street, go in a store, I guarantee you, if you've seen 10 people, 8 of them are struggling. That's just the way it is at this current time. Now you did state, she stated that she makes, like I said, I'm reading my bullet points, y'all. She makes $65,000 to $75,000 a year, and she basically, she's breaking down. She says she can't do it. Now, as y'all know, I've told y'all before, I fall below the IRS's poverty level. You know, I make under 40K. And when I say I make under 40K. And I'm making it. I'm happy. Not rich, but I'm not broke. You know, I got a little money in my pocket, but my bills are paid. So we're gonna try to help out here. First thing that I noticed was she stated she doesn't live in a fancy place. She has a apartment, but it's nothing fancy. It's not big. So based off of the other things that she said, which we're going to get to, and the amount that she says she's making, she didn't state what her job was or anything like that. But when you hear the stuff she's saying, right off the bat, I'm going to say you need to move. And I don't mean move to another place in the area you're at. So option number one already, I'm going to say relocate. I know that's a big thing, a very, very big thing. It's not that easy to do, but you know, the cost of living in your area must be very high. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. You got to find some place with a lower cost of living. And that could be rough. But if you're making 65 to 75K, I'm going to say that you've got, or someone in your household, you or maybe a husband, I'm not sure, maybe you're single, you have a very, very decent job. So you should be able to relocate and get a decent job in the same field you're doing. Like I said, I'm going off of a video I've seen. I could be wrong on that, but you know, the only thing that I've seen that, like I said, not trying to be mean, but you're leasing a car. You say it's not a fancy car, but you're still leasing a car. I'm imagining that's probably still considered a newer car, or when you got it, it was, halfway decently new. I'm going to assume that you got a low lease payment, saying, $150, $200 lease, but you don't keep that car. You lose all that money, but you got to have full coverage insurance as well. Considering your area, that's probably not cheap. That's the first thing that I'd give up on that, get rid of that completely, and focus on getting you a decent used car, an older model car. That would save you hundreds of dollars. Your payment, if you want to do it by payment, I wouldn't. I would just, a few thousand and just get you a used car. You wouldn't have to worry about a car payment, and you could drop that full coverage insurance to just liability. You said that you can't renew the lease anyway because you've already filed bankruptcy 2 years ago. Okay, so that means you've been struggling really hard for quite a while. You had to file bankruptcy. Okay, so, hey, Wiggy. So, and you're upset because you can't renew a lease. And that's what I'm talking about. Hey, don't worry about that so much. You're stressing yourself out. Get you a decent used older car. Forget about leasing. Don't worry about full coverage insurance. Oh, my dog's saying hi, everyone. You're saying you're shopping groceries at Dollar General, Dollar Tree. Okay, you gotta do what you gotta do. Getting a used car and being able to drop the full coverage insurance will give you more money for the groceries. Like I say it over and over. That's the first thing that always takes the hits, the groceries. Always does. And once you do that, shop in bulk. That would help out some too. You had no health insurance, you had to drop it. I don't know if you had health insurance through your company. If it's because it costs too much at wherever you work, if you relocate, or if you're going to stay, if you can drop the lease, get you a decent older used car, maybe that'll help you out and you'll be able to, stay where you're at. Shop around for private insurance. Sit down, go through it. You don't need everything that most of these insurance companies offering. Consolidate it, get the payment down. Shop around for cheaper insurance. You owe $4,000 for dog surgery. I'm not gonna say nothing on that. I have my own dog, and I consider him, part of the family. So I ain't gonna say it because he's over here saying hello to everybody. I'm gonna say hello, Wiggy. So I'm not gonna say nothing on that. You had to get surgery for your dog. I can understand that. Arrange payments. Try to work with them. If your dog is older, if you think it's gonna have health issues, get you some, pet insurance. Shop around though. Some of that can be very expensive. Shop around, and that's only if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, in time, just follow a couple things. You also owe the IRS $2,700. The IRS will make payment arrangements with you. You ain't got to stress out about that. People freak out and they stress so much over that. They will work with you. They will set up a payment plan. So, you do that. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore the IRS. The interest on that compounds. So you could work with them though and stop some of that. How do you say that? There's a lot of people going through this, and from what I can see, you look like you need someone to talk to. You're feeling alone. you've hit that wall. You're not alone. Reach out to people and talk. Even if it's just to get it off your chest. Don't face stuff like that alone. I know it can be hard. And you hit the wall, now you got to climb over that wall. I know you think in your head, you're like, I'm already shopping at Dollar General. I don't live in a fancy place. Okay, I understand that. Find other ways to cut the bills. Let that car go, that lease. Yes, I know. If you've been paying on that lease for 2 or 3 years, you lost all that money. I'm not a person that's really for leases. So yeah, I would get me a decent used older car, buy it outright if you can, and you only get, just the minimum insurance. You don't need full coverage. Okay. You're just trying to get through a year. Look at it like that. You're going to want to make payments and stuff. Take that money that you're saving from that and put it towards other stuff. Add a little bit to your groceries. Shop a little bit in bulk. If you're buying meats and stuff from Dollar General, Dollar Tree, shop in bulk and go to Sam's or Costco or whatever. Get you bulk chicken legs, stuff like that, chicken thighs, or you can get pork chops. Yes, you're going to be eating the same thing a lot, but at least you get a little bit of variety. Snacks and stuff, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta cut it out, and I imagine that part you would have to sit down yourself and just go through. I don't know what you eat, but I think a big help for you would be letting that lease go and being able to drop that full coverage insurance. That'll free up a lot of money for you right there. And then you just have to sit down and seriously be honest with yourself. Can you stay in the area you're at? If the cost of living is so high that even $75K a year can't cut it, relocate. And, I'm not being biased or nothing. Head south. Most southern states, we have a lower cost of living. And like I said, I don't know what your job field is, but just off the top of my head, if I try to do a comparison, which is, like I said, it's not going to be nowhere near right, I don't think. But if you're making $75K, and let's say it's for a job in, just off the top of my head, say New York. Down here, you'll probably get 40, 45, maybe even 50K doing the same kind of work. But 50K here, you won't have no worries. I'm not saying you're going to be able to go out and party all the time or eat out every day, but your bills will all be paid. You won't have no stress. You will have extra money too. You'll be a little bit ahead of the game with that kind of money, And other than that, all I can do is, I wish you luck. Thoughts are with you. And just so that you know, you're not alone in that. And I hope things get better for you. So, this is Old Gamer Jack, y'all. I'm out.